The Red Hawk Pantry was established by the Division of Student Development and Campus Life and opened for the first time on April 18, 2016, to address the need of food insecurity at Montclair State. As the pantry prepared to open, a team of graduate students surveyed all students and found that of the nearly 200 Montclair State students surveyed at the time, 10% expressed food insecurity on a daily basis, while 15% expressed a need on a weekly basis, and 12% on a monthly basis. Since then, several other surveys have been conducted to continually assess the needs of our students so that the pantry can adapt and adjust accordingly. First opening in the Student Center, the pantry has now relocated to Blanton Hall. Since its inception, the pantry has grown in size and offerings, including non-perishable items, frozen food items, fresh foods and produce, toiletries and personal care items, school supplies, kitchenware, and more. Thank you for your generosity and support of this important campus initiative. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us for our virtual Homecoming 2020. My name is Stacy Albanese Fagioli, Associate Director of Annual Giving and Alumni Engagement at Montclair State. Today, I am joined by Sonja Tillman, Coordinator of the Red Hawk Pantry and Student Center Programming, and Dr. Fatima deCarvalho, Associate Dean of Students at Montclair State. Thank you all for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Today we'll discuss the Red Hawk Pantry as well as some other really great emergency funds that support our students. So Sonja, I'm going to kick it off with you.
Okay.
How much of an impact would you say that the donations that come from our alumni community have had on the Red Hawk Pantry?
The impact is huge. I can't thank our donors enough. I don't think so many people realize that something as simple as, say, $20 can go such a long, long way. $20 would enable me to be able to purchase things like laundry detergent, bread, and everyday items that most people don't think about, but those donations go a long way. Not to mention the items that people send in. You know, our alumni have sent in so many different things and so many items from wish lists, from things they think that students need. So those donations have also gone a long way.
That's great. And since its creation in 2016, how would you say the pantry has grown and changed physically and also in terms of its offerings?
Since we have moved into our new space, I can say that has enabled us to, provide more items. So not only do we provide shelf-stable items, we also provide fresh items. So we have fruits, we have vegetables, we'll have frozen vegetables. So it's not just your basic ramen noodles that students can go in and get. These students will be able to actually prepare a meal for themselves. Sometimes it'll be a whole suite of students that actually benefit from this. So, I mean, the space is huge. The new space is very nice now. It looks more like a store instead of just a closeted pantry. So we're making strides and providing like a nice area for students to come in, to feel welcome, to be able to get food items that they need.
That's really great. And would you say that having a space like that makes an impact for the students? Do they feel more welcomed there? Do they feel less, less concerned with going to the pantry now that it's in a space?
I feel that, when they come in, their eyes get a little bit bigger. They don't feel like, it's a place that, it's tucked away. It's kind of like, oh, this was, the last resort kind of thing. I feel like it's easier to get to for students now that we're in Blanton. That's another helpful thing. It's brighter. I mean, it makes a big difference when you can come into a place and say, oh, this looks really nice. I can actually shop. I've set it up so that there's actually aisles for students to go up and down now. So I think they feel a little bit better about the overall experience of coming to the pantry.
That's wonderful.
And I think it minimizes the stigma of people using pantries. When you have it tucked in a corner and it's dark and it's dingy, what does that say? Like, are we hiding that our students are in need? I think it's, the move to a larger space, a space that brings in sunlight in a main residence hall speaks volumes in regards to this institution and its commitment to helping our students and recognizing that, issues of food insecurity shouldn't carry a stigma, and that we are here to support all students as we would support them in other ways. And it's just another resources that we have available at Montclair.
That's great. I think that's a really great point. I know early on it was, balancing the line of respecting their privacy, but also making it accessible. But I think that's really great that we want to remove that stigma, because as we've discussed too, food insecurity can impact anyone, and especially right now. And sometimes it's a matter of, we've seen those students, I know Sonja, you've told me their meal plan just runs out a few weeks before the semester is over.
Exactly.
They've been set for a few weeks, but now, it's gearing up towards finals and they're out of their swipes. So the pantry is available to them. So I think it's great that you guys have worked to make it more accessible. So Sonja, you spoke a little bit about the different offerings. It's not just your ramen, like you said, there's frozen items and produce, but besides food, what are some of the other things that the pantry offers to students?
One of our big sellers, if you will, is laundry detergent. I think people forget how important it is to feel good about yourself if you have clean clothes. So clean clothes is very important. We offer toiletries, basic necessities that you don't think about because you go into your bathroom and brush your teeth every day. Don't think twice about having toothpaste, but toothpaste, deodorant, shampoo, all the things that make you feel good about yourself in your everyday life, we offer those as well. We also offer school supplies. I do have some notebooks, pens, papers, things that, people forget about, but these students definitely need for their education. Right now, we also have some pots and pans that were donated also from alumni. So we have those things that are available too.
Sure, I think that's a great point. People don't realize that to open a canned good, you might need a can opener.
Yes.
To cook something, you might need the kitchen utensils and pots and pans. So it's great that people donate those items and that you also have the funds available to purchase anything that you need to supplement. That's great. So question for both of you that you might be able to speak to. If you have rough numbers, that's great, but how many students would you say have benefited from this pantry? And is it, something that you track yearly, each semester? What would you say is the impact overall?
You mean since its inception?
Sure.
Ooh. We average every semester, we average about 400 to 500 swipe-ins.
Okay.
So that's 400 to 500 students accessing the pantry, and that's just what we've actually swiped in. That doesn't even include the students who have come in for appointments, who have contacted me for personal appointments, who can't come on the day that we're open.
Sure.
So well over 1,000 students in 2 semesters in the academic year. That's not even including the students that access the pantry during the summer.
Sure.
So that, because we do remain open in the summer, and even during when the pandemic hit, we remained open weekly. So we see a large amount of students during those times. So I would, a good 1,500 for the academic year.
That's impressive.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Great. Well, thank you for that information. And if anyone's looking for the pantry or is in need, if a student is seeing this, how can they get to the pantry?
Oh, they can always contact me directly if they like. My extension is my number, it would be 973-655-6959. They can also email me directly at tillmans@montclair.edu. The pantry's also moved to Blanton Hall, room 1200. That's on the first floor of Blanton Hall. And we are open every Thursday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. So if anybody would like to bring donations, they can bring them by during that time.
Wonderful.
And if anybody just wants to come by and see the new space, please stop by and see the new space. So Blanton Hall, room 1200.
Great, thank you. So in addition to the pantry, there's a lot of other emergency funds that we have established in partnership that our alumni community supports. So Fatima, you've seen the impact of some of these funds. We have an emergency scholarship fund, an emergency book fund, a student emergency fund. What would you say that this has, the impact it's had on our students, especially during the current health crisis?
I mean, I think it's been extremely important. It's been, for some students, a lifeline and has helped them graduate. For many students, their parents have lost their jobs. And so while they were hoping to be able to, use their money to pay for tuition, books, other expenditures, for many of those students was questioning whether they would be able to finish the semester. And so these emergency funds have been crucial for many of these students to help them get through the spring semester as well as the fall, summer semester.
Sure. And for all these different emergency funds that we have, and I know students are benefiting from them, are there any particular stories that stand out to you or student experiences that stand out to you that you can share with the alumni community?
Sure. I mean, there are, for some students, it was a matter of being able to graduate. There were students who had bills as little as $300 to $500 that if they didn't pay, they weren't going to get their degree. We have students who were dreamers, New Jersey dreamers. And so as we know, they don't have access to a lot of the aid available, particularly federal aid. And so some of them lost their jobs. We know that dreamers can work, but they didn't have access like to the CARE grant from the federal fund. And so this money was extremely helpful for at least 3 of those students who, while other students may have had access to other federal grants, dreamers were not. And so this was extremely important for those particular students.
That's great. Is there anything either of you would like to add or personally say to the alumni donors who might be watching, or to anyone who has been thinking about supporting but hasn't yet?
I mean, I think first of all, thank you. Particularly when we talk about the pantry, it's been fully sustained by contributions, generous contributions from faculty and staff. You know, we take care of our community very well here. And so it was, the generosity has allowed us to be able to not only sustain, but thrive. While other pantries were, struggling, we were able to find ways during this pandemic to keep the pantry going. And it's through the generosity of our alumni and our donors. And the other piece of it is that I think it's important to recognize that no contribution is small.
Yes.
And anything that you can donate is going to be appreciative. We spend a lot of time listening to the stories and hearing the stories of our students who are really struggling. And I think for Sonja and I, it warms our heart to know that we're able to assist them and that we have these resources available, whether it's the pantry, whether it's the emergency scholarship fund, whether it's the emergency fund, but if this money is there, if a student needs a book, that we've got the book grant. For some students, a book makes a difference in regards to them being successful here and passing those classes. The ripple effect of not having a textbook is enormous. And so having these types of funds available to them is extremely important. Our students are not coming, we're an academic institution, but we need to think of students holistically. And if we want them to be successful at Montclair State University, we need to take the whole picture into account. What goes on when they're not in the classroom, and how those experiences that their lives are impacting what's going on in the class. So if we can make even little strides, making sure that they have breakfast and they can pick something up from the pantry, making sure that they have a textbook, making sure that they don't have to worry about, how they're going to get on campus because they've been able to get some funds so that they can take commuter rails onto campus. Those little things make a huge difference. And so every little bit that you can give, $5, $10, $15, $20, it all adds up.
It does. And, I think many of our alumni watching can certainly relate to the cost of a textbook and what that was like when you find out what that's like and having to choose, like you said, between eating today or purchasing that textbook. The fact that we have a resource that can cover both of those things, I think is really great. Sonja, anything you'd like to add?
I just want the alumni to know how appreciative the students are. So when they come in, they say, oh, well, where did all this stuff come from? How do you get it? I tell them these are donations from people who have graduated from this university. These are people like you who, when they graduate, they get out there, they start working, they give back. And it's so important to give back to where you came from. And a young woman told me the other day, oh my gosh, when I graduate next year, I'm going to make sure, you know, I give money and I give back because, you know, this is so important. People helped me. I want to help other people. So they are very, very appreciative of the things that have been given.
That's awesome. We love to see a good pay it forward for
Mhm.
full circle moment from
Yes.
student to alumni. Well, thank you both again for taking the time to chat about these initiatives. And thank you to everyone who's joining us and tuning in for Homecoming 2020. If you'd like to support any of these funds, you can visit crowdfund.montclair.edu. You can also contact the Office of Annual Giving at 973-655-4141 or giving@montclair.edu, and we're happy to assist you with that gift. So thank you both again. Appreciate
Thank you.
it.
Thank you, Stacy.
Great, thank you.